Hi, my name is Meg Myers, and I am the Program Director for PT Rio, Texas. We are excited for you to join us as a reading buddy this summer. This summer, Project Transformation's goal is to have every child, every day, have a reading buddy volunteer. That's why you're here. You're helping us achieve that goal by giving your time, either once a week or multiple times a week, or even every day during the summer, to help children have a love for books just as you and I do. Did you know if by the third grade a student is not reading a level, they're 4 times less likely to graduate high school on time? This is important for Project Transformation, and a reason reading is a big part of our summer program, because reading is that very first stepping stone for our children. Just this past summer, our summer program saw an average of 93% of the children either maintain or improve their reading level over the summer months. You might have heard a phrase called summer slide. What is summer slide? Summer slide is a tendency for children, especially those in low-income families, to lose the learning that they have acquired throughout the school year. Summer slide, for those families, lose the achievement gains they've made the previous school year because they do not have the opportunities to read in their homes. 2/3 of their learning through the school year is lost during the summer. As a reading buddy volunteer, you have the ability to read with a child and promote and encourage their confidence in reading to combat these summer slide statistics. Over the summer, 2 months of reading skills are lost, and teachers end up spending 6 weeks reteaching old material. So just 2 to 3 hours per week during the summer with a reading buddy volunteer can help a child avoid summer slide. Project Transformation reading buddies are helping students to gain and maintain their reading levels throughout the summer, combat summer slide, and they're helping to build self-esteem, confidence, and character. What is a reading buddy, and how is it vital to our mission at Project Transformation? All of our programs with children and youth revolve around our 4 pillars: developing literacy, cultivating leadership, celebrating diversity, and serving our community. We also have program goals that guide everything that we do with our participants. Our first goal is to support participants and increase literacy skills. Our second goal is to help them build developmental relationships and social-emotional learning skills. And lastly, our final goal is to introduce them to God, because we know that God is already at work providing grace in their life. So this is why Reading Buddies is so vital to the heart of what we do. At Project Transformation, our theory of change is that transformation happens through relationships. With your investment in our children and youth, reading with them one-on-one, providing them with encouragement, gives them skills, and just reminding them that they've got this, you're making a huge impact. These mutual relationships are one of our foundational core values. We know that the biggest increase in skills comes from an increase in confidence. It's almost impossible to start loving to read and to build your reading confidence if you don't have someone encouraging you. We also know that Project Transformation is a different place. It's a place like no other, and when we interact with our children and our youth, we invite you to come into Project Transformation with a spirit of curiosity and a sense of wonder. You will see things in our program like developing social-emotional learning skills, using restorative practices, looking through a lens of trauma-informed care with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Remember, this is a different place, and these practices are so special and intentional to our mission. It's at our heart. Daily, our interns are working their very best to utilize restorative practices and build relationships with the youth. They too are new to this, so if you have a question or you have dealt with something differently, you're welcome to ask questions. You're welcome to engage in gentle conversations with our interns, but please, we ask that you do this as well with a sense of curiosity and wonder. When you're working with your reading buddy, you're helping them build the 5 essential elements of reading. The first essential is phonemic awareness. And what is phonemic awareness? Phonemic awareness, we're talking about just understanding the relationships between letters and sounds. Without anything written down, you can ask your child, what does A say? And they're helping them understand that letters and sounds correlate back to one another. That's really essential as a foundation for understanding how to read. So if you're working with a beginning reader, a young student, someone who's building their skills, practicing phonemic awareness is essential. The next skill is phonics. Phonics is where letter sounds and actual written letters and words come together. So anytime you're reading a book with your child, anytime you're doing flashcards or helping them break apart sounds while they're looking at words, that is practicing phonics. It's essential. Once a child understands that every letter has a sound, bringing that together with written word is what helps make reading happen. Vocabulary is the third foundational skill. It's not just building up letters and sounds. We're going to build up the bank of word knowledge that a child has. The more vocabulary a child has, the more they'll be able to read, the more they'll be able to speak fluently, as well as write. This takes us to our fourth essential skill, and that's fluency. Fluency is the ability to read smoothly with annotation. So once a child has a good vocabulary bank, they understand how to pull words apart based on their sounds and what is written. They're able to read fluently. They can put all those skills together and they can read smoothly. One of the best ways to practice this is for a child to listen to a fluent reader. So you reading with your reading buddy or doing a read aloud together will help them build their fluency in annotation. This is to our last component, which is comprehension. And comprehension is bringing everything together. It's the ultimate goal of reading. So we move from learning to read to reading to learn. One of the very best ways to practice this is just to ask questions. And we provided a sheet of questions you can ask before, during, and even after reading. We want you to use these not at every question and every time, but really just as an investigative point while you're reading. Try to get those little nuggets of knowledge out of your child's brain and into a conversation. This is not only building their comprehension, but it's building your relationship together. You can support your child depending on their age or skill level if they're a new reader, whether that's new to reading in general or new to reading in English, practicing phonemic awareness and phonics while building the vocabulary. Are going to be the best ways you can support and encourage them as readers and develop that skill of comprehension. They move on to focusing on larger vocabulary words, building their vocabulary bank, and ultimately comprehending the stories that they have and making them come to life. It is with you as their reading buddy that you're going to help them to hone in on these 5 essential skills and become lifelong readers. What happens when I get there? Well, now that you have the why and what behind being a reading buddy, let's talk about the how. When you arrive to your site for the first time, please arrive a few minutes early. On your first visit, you get to meet your site interns and get situated. Every time you volunteer, you will receive a reading log inside of a reading folder for your child. Now, this folder contains their session log and a tips and tricks sheet. Let's look at your reading log. Every time you read with a child, you'll fill out their session log, recording the child's name, your name, the date, and then let us know what you did and how it went. There's a section for you to record a book or multiple books, as well as activities. The activity could simply be the title. For example, if you read Where the Wild Things Are, we want you to write down the title. But if you use phonics cards for grades 1st and 2nd, then you just write down phonics cards, grades 1st and 2nd. One more thing, if you read a book, you must write the letter A through Z that is color-coded on the book's spine. Every book will be labeled with a letter, and it is important that we know the level of book read. The next part of your log is asking if your child had an easy time, if their time was just right, if their time was difficult. Think about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You got to think about if it was just right. They feel like they really zoomed through the book or flashcards, you would call that easy. But a child that reads with a little bit of help but understood the book and you were assisting them, that was just right. If they had a hard time, if that was just too difficult for their skill level, remember, we're encouraging them every part of the way. However, if you were supporting them every way through, or maybe you had to take over and read the book to them, that's too difficult. We need to know. We ask for these things so that you can also monitor their skills and the level of your child. You will see a place for notes for each section. If your child really loved something that they did, if they shared something exciting with you, or if they were having a hard day, we want to know the details of your session, and you can record in the notes section. Now, the tips and tricks sheet in your reading folders are just helpful hints to help guide you through your Reading Buddy session. These have been provided to you before you go be a reading buddy. It's inside of every reading folder, just so if you need a little extra help with the child you are reading with. So remember, relationships are at the core of everything we do at Project Transformation. As a reading buddy, we encourage you, before you start reading, take time to get to know your child, especially if it's the first time. Share your name, ask their name, get to know one another, and share maybe your favorite book, ask them what their favorite book is. Share why you're excited to be a reading buddy, what brought you to being a reading buddy, and ask them what they're most excited about for summer camp. Now, if you already know your child, this is a great time to check in. Check in on from a previous session, see how they're doing, and have them share with anything with you. And make sure you get started off on the right foot for the day before you really dig into the book. Now, you may want to jump into the book, but remember, it's very important to preview that book. This builds skills like inference, prediction, and helps your child get ready to understand what the book is going to be about. This is very simple. It can be done with a book walk. What you do is take that book and flip through the pages. What do you think is going to happen in the story? What do you think they're going to feel? How do they think they're going to like this story? Begin with those predictions. Even ask, what do you think we're going to read about today? Prediction is core to getting to build that skill of comprehension we've talked about. Once you begin reading, it's important to support your child's comprehension and fluency with questions. You can ask, what do you think comes next? What would you do in that situation? How do you think they feel? How would you feel? Connect with that book and connect with the child. Talk about the pictures that they see on that page. All of these small moments come together to build the bond with your child and build the bond with the books and build their confidence and character with reading. Now, throughout the reading session, if they're having a hard time, you could take a break. Break those words up. If they're having a hard time with one word, break it into chunks. We're going to decode those words by sounding it out or even referring to the pictures on the page. This is a great place to start to help building that confidence or even giving back the confidence they may have lost. You can also give your child the word if they're really struggling and help them define what that word means so they can use it and build those word banks. We're building their vocabulary by decoding the words and making connections to the words that they're reading. All of this is that foundation of building those 5 skills of reading. Now, when you complete a book, your time is completed. But if you didn't finish the book, you're going to check in with your child about what they thought about the book, and we can set a place marker. And the next time we can come back and they can pick up where they left off. Remember, at the end, you're always going to summarize the book so they can gain that understanding of what had happened. You can talk about what they loved about the book and also maybe what they think is going to happen next if we haven't finished the book. Through this comprehension check, you can grasp whether the book was too easy, just right, or difficult. In addition, if you did an activity or you did something like a read aloud instead, your child has been reading to you, and this is wonderful. You can use that same process to build their comprehension and to check in and see how the activity went. But remember, we always want to check on comprehension. Before your child leaves for the day, you do want to ask them if you're going to see them again if they're coming back. Tell them that you're coming back. Build that relationship. Wrap up that time with them with positive reinforcement too. What's something wonderful that they did? Did they try really hard? Did they learn a new word? What's something positive from the sessions you can leave them with to take home? And to have them continue reading at Project Transformation and in their own lives, and you do this every single day. If you have any questions about that or your session, if there's anything important that you need to let us know, you can do that by talking to your site interns before you leave for the day. Again, we really appreciate you taking the time to be a reading buddy this summer. Relationships are at the heart of everything that we do. It is through relationships that our lives are transformed. Thank you for giving your time and support this summer. We look forward to seeing you at some of our sites and hearing about the amazing work that you've done in the lives of our children.